Boys, there's a new sheriff in town.
One thing I've always believed in, kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
How do you feel like it went tonight?
I think it was amazing.
This man has won over 300 football games, and I am proud to say that we got him the first 17. So.
1972 and 1973, exciting and victorious years in high school football in Farnham, Nebraska.
It was exciting. It was something that really, put a charge in this community.
Kim Edson Heiser of Lincoln was a Greenback cheerleader back in the day. Her big brothers were on the winning football team. On Friday, during Farnham's Founder Days, the town came out to remember.
My cup's full. It really is. It's just so great to be here and to see the guys and see how much they've changed, and see what they're doing, and share some stories, and you don't reinvent any wheel. You just talk about the way things were, and this is special, very special.
Rumble, we want a fumble.
It's just a special place in my heart. Best decision I ever made in my life when I came here. And little did we know how things were going to turn out, And it was just, the timing was so right because we had a lot of great kids. The parents were great. And they bought into what we were doing. And, we started winning, and it was just contagious. And like I said, we just all got along really, really well. And didn't mean that we were easy on them either, because we were pretty tough on them. I look back now, and we were pretty tough on them, but it made a difference. Oh, this is fun.
This is awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
They were all good. They were very good. Not as good as the volleyball team, but we got third out of 4 teams, so we were really hot.
It's, just good parents and good friends and good people in the community. Everybody had a good, strong work ethic and everything. Just learned from that.
Russ Clement and I and Glenn Davis filled in so they'd have 12 guys so they could scrimmage, We were 8th graders.
And they have your name on them, so when I call your name, there's a keepsake.
A group of young men, players, and coaches, now grown, remembering and being remembered in Farnham, Nebraska.
Yeah. Doug was the starting center on our 72 team. He was just a sophomore, and he was a stud, buddy. Doug, Davis, and I opened a lot of holes to make this guy famous. Well done, Hoppy. If you haven't guessed, Herbie's the most popular guy here. This young fella, we made pretty much that nobody ran on that. They tried to run up the middle, they were dead in the water. Peter. This guy, Coach Fuller, picked on a lot. Me. This guy might not look like it, but he was like trying to tackle in practice. As everybody tried to take the coiled spring apart, that was him in practice. He was the other defensive end. Nobody run that way you did. I don't know what the deal was. Little story about Howard. When he would come in when we were substituting, and if Howard made a mistake, you'd never seen anybody as intense in your life. He said, "I'll get him next time. I'll get him next time. Just wait. I'll get him next time." He was a quarterback on the 74 team. Bruce was a starting end and the linebacker that played behind me. So if I messed up, they got him. This guy started on 2 state championship football teams. He started on offense and defense, and for a freshman, that's pretty awesome. Good job, fella. When we started this deal, we have 4 players that
We have 4 players that can't join us tonight, and we made plaques for them and shirts and cards for their parents.
miss them guys a lot, I'll tell you what.
Reminded me of a story. Weldon's sitting up here, we're number 13. And I'll never forget, we got done with a 2-hour practice. And Wes comes up to me and he says, "Coach," he says, "I got a deer spotted." He says, "Would you go with me so see if we can find him and get him?" I said, "Sure, I'll go with you." Gene went along. Well, we found that deer bedded down and he took off running, and Wes shot. Deer kept running. Wes kept running. He ran for over 2 miles, and his dad kept saying, "How does he do that?" I said, "Well, I tell you what, these kids are in shape, all of them. They understand, that. But I always say to this day, I don't think Wes hit that deer with a bullet. I think he ran him to death." I really do. But,
An evening full of memories. State champions in 1972 and 1973, a great team in 1974, and even looking back to the 50s.
I never coached a state championship football team. I played on a couple of them. And that was back in the days when Farm was 6-man football. But my first recollection of Farm football was when Walt Kromeyer was the coach. Kind of sad when I think about that long ago. The starters on that team, Doug Welch was an end, Glenn Davis was center, Ralph Whiting was the other end, Russ Clement, Dale Knapp, and I were the backs. Again, 6-man football. Doug Welch and Glenn Davis have passed. Dale and Russ are both in care homes. Ralph and I are the only 2 still walking the streets as the starters. That's kind of scary. So anyway, it's great to be here, and thank you for listening.
I really appreciate being invited to this. One thing that I really think about is the way I was treated from all the students and the parents, and it made me really want to become a coach, a teacher, which prior to that year, I had no desire to do either one. And it just so happened that, I had, the VA had taken care of my problems. And I don't know, it's special to be here. And it gave me an opportunity to teach for 41 years, to coach football and basketball, which to me was a gift, that I can't forget. I didn't have the background that most of the coaches had. In fact, my parents, they were shocked when I was invited to do that here. But we got pretty lucky. I was blessed with some fantastic athletes. Not only athletes, but students. And they taught me what I needed to know. And it was a true gift. And like I said, it allowed me to coach football for 30-some years basketball for 40 years. Had wonderful students, but it just gave me the opportunity, and I just want to thank you so much for giving me that opportunity. Hopefully I did something with it, so thank you.
You're going to be athletic director. You don't get paid anything for that. You're going to be head football, you get paid $400 for that. You're going to be head basketball, you're going to get paid $400. And you're also going to be head track, you're going to get paid $200. And oh, by the way, you're going to teach a full 8 periods a day, too. Okay. Well, I want to be a head coach, and this was, as I look back over the 53 years I've been doing this is the best decision I ever made in my life. I think John said it best about the kids here. I've never seen a bunch of kids, and I've had 53 years of doing this. I've never seen a bunch of kids work as hard as these kids did. That came from you parents sitting there in the audience, that work ethic. Now, I will say this. I remember the first year, and John and I, we've never seen an 8-man game in our life. Went and got some stuff from a couple 8-man coaches. But the first game we coached was against the Bartley Bombers. And by God, we did beat them 26-6. But I think the whole turning point of, and I always say this, if winning is not important, why do we keep scoring? Why do we keep scoring? Well, anyway, we went up and played Stapleton, and we got our butt kicked. And we're driving home, and then back in those days, you drove the bus. John was sitting up front, and the kids were having a heyday in the back of the bus. And John says, "You want me to say anything?" I said, "No. Wait till we get home." But we got home, and I don't know if you guys remember this. Brought in, sat you down, and said, "Boys, we didn't play our best tonight, but I want you to tell your folks that this week you're going to be late for supper every single night." And there was the sun going down those 3 nights, and you know what? It was like a light switch came on, and from then on, we did some, kids played a lot better. Winning was important to them. Working hard to win a game was important to them. And, we won a state championship in '72, but we played an awful good team in Brady. And if it hadn't been for this guy sitting here next to me kicking a field goal, and Lord only knows we practiced a lot doing that.
Yeah.
We really did.
Well, we had them so scared that their coach was screaming, "It's a fake, it's a fake."
Not real common to kick field goals in 8-man football because of the fact that the lines, you don't spread out as far, so people coming to block it off of the edge don't have as far to go.
Yeah.
So it's not real common to kick a field goal in 8-man football, which was kind of I really think the team that we were playing, maybe they didn't expect us to kick it, and maybe they didn't rush quite as hard, but we got it off and it went through, so that's the story.
A pretty good memory.
Yeah, it was a real good memory. Yeah. Very exciting day. I'm not real sure that I've had one, and I've been a part of a lot of state. In McCook, we played in Memorial Stadium 5 straight years and won twice. But your very first one is always sticks with you the most. So I can remember most everything about that game, and some of the other games I don't remember quite as well.
A few years ago, and I can't remember when it was, but the North Platte Telegraph
and that's when this picture was taken. Called me and said, we're doing a special on the top 25 football games in the area over the last, 15 or 20 years. And he says, your game with Brady was, I think it was number 7. So we want to come down and give you an interview. And I said, I got a better idea. You tell me when you're coming down, I'm going to make some phone calls. So I made some phone calls and got almost everybody there. That's what this picture was.
I just want to thank everybody, from the bottom of my heart. And this, John said, be very, hold a very special space in your heart, and it always will. And here we are 50-some years later, and it's so great to see so many people, even though I didn't recognize some of you. And it just can't say enough about it. But I just want to thank everybody for all that you did for us when we were here. Thank you.
I got so spoiled by the kids. We had such good kids. I remember, getting done with the practice, and it'd be 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, and we'd have a bunch of kids still in the commons, just doing their homework, getting ready for the next day, and that was so impressive to me, and just their work ethic. They all came from very strong family backgrounds, and I was treated so well. This town always holds a special place in my heart. Love coming back here, and thanks for having us.
I had not yet had my 22nd birthday when I came here, so I was pretty young, and so some of those seniors were 18 years old, and there wasn't a whole lot of difference. But that was, the line was drawn, and they knew. So I've been parts of really, really good programs. Probably me personally, I'm probably a little bit more noted for a career in track, and I was a head track coach at McCook for close to 25 seasons, and we won 2 state titles and 7 runners-up in that time. And again, a great tradition and good athletes. But yeah, it's the athletes and it's the people you work with, basically. But of course, they got to have faith in you so that they feel like the effort is going to produce something. Of course, the Bob that you've talked to, Coach Fuller, and I have been closest friends for 53 years. We played college football together, and I just want people to know that there's only 2 coaches in the history of Nebraska that have won state championships at 3 different schools, and Bob's one of them. He won a state title here, he won a state title when he coached at Cambridge, and he won a state title when he coached at Osceola. And he's been in the finals. When him and I were in McCook, we went to the finals and didn't win, and in Plattsmouth he went to the finals and didn't win, so he's no stranger to success. But yeah, only 2, and he's one of them, have won state titles at 3 different schools. So yeah, we may be old, but we still produce.
This kid, when he was a kid, he came up and started as a freshman, true freshman, and he just got elected into the 8-man Hall of Fame for the state of Nebraska.
First off, I want to say I feel like a lot of the reason I got in there is because all teammates that I had. We went to a small school, but we had a lot of good athletes for the time period that I went through, and our coaches. Bob and John come here when I was a freshman, and I know that some people always say that they'll make no difference about your coaches. Well, it made a difference at Farm. There were guys that came out when they came here that wouldn't have come out if they wouldn't have been here. And they made a big difference on our team. So everybody had a part in what I was awarded. I wasn't expecting it, you know. I tried, you know, it wouldn't have been for you guys, the things that I was able to accomplish wouldn't have happened. You know, we just had a really lot of good athletes for a small school. And so I thank all the people that followed our teams. We had a lot of support over all those years. You know, between Randy's dad hauling our stuff in the back of the pickup at all the games, every game. We remember throwing all our bags in there. So there was a lot of support from the town. You know, there was really good years. I don't know what, you know, how it could have been much better in those years. So I appreciate all the support and all my teammates that was played along with me. We had a lot of good, several sets of brothers, and it just was really a lot of good years. A lot of good guys, a lot of good coaches. We're just always very lucky about all that. So, thank you.
We were freshmen. We won state football, and I was a starting end, and I think partway through the season I got to start on defense too. But we was very fortunate to have a lot of good athletes for a small school, like I said. And so our next year, we lost only one game. And we lost that game, and the time ran out, and we was like the Bartley was a team that nobody, you know. And the time ran out we was on the 6-inch yard line. We ran out of time, and we lost by 1 or 2. We could have scored, we would have won, and we would have went undefeated that year again. So if we could have gone undefeated again in our sophomore year, I think there would have been a good chance we were state champions again because we didn't lose no games the year before. So we lost that one game. Then, and in my junior year, we went undefeated again, and we won state again that year. And so, then my senior year, we had lost our quarterback, Scott Atkinson, our running back, 2 running backs we had. We lost a lot of a team, kind of started over almost. And like my one friend, Carl Randecker, was on the team as in my class. Like we always talk, that was the hardest year of all of our years. We ended up going 7-2. But we had to work so much harder to win those 7 games than we ever did on all the other games because it was just. And anyway, so we ended up only losing 3 games our 4 years in high school out of that. So, and won 2 state championships out of those 4 years. So,
Did you play college ball?
I played 1 year at the University of Nebraska. Got chosen to be. I didn't even know this thing existed. It was for the Nebraska 8-man Football Hall of Fame, and they haven't been doing it for a lot of years. But when I played in the Nebraska Shrine Bowl game, which at that time we had to go play 11-man game, and they only picked a couple guys from the state that played 8-man that would go because they didn't have this. Now they have an 8-man All-Star game. Now they didn't have that when I played, and that's what this. So this all got started kind of because of 8-man football, and I didn't even know the thing existed until a guy started trying to get a hold of me and tell me about it. And oh, really? So it was in Hastings, Nebraska last weekend at the 8-man All-Star game during their game, and that's when they presented all the stuff and we got inducted to the Hall of Fame. And it was a surprise to me. I didn't even know it existed. And honestly, I feel like I played with a lot of guys that were just as good as I was. Just happened to be, I guess, you know, how it worked out. That I got noted for doing it, but like I said, I had a lot of players that I feel like was just as good as I was, and if it wouldn't have been for them, I wouldn't have been able to do what I did. So it was a surprise. It was a nice day. It was good. It was fun, really fun, and all day today. We played golf this morning with, and. Here was good. You've seen a lot of, guys I haven't seen for a long time. Our coach, it was for them to take the time to come, for a little old Farnham, Nebraska, and like I said, a lot of them was their first job here, and really they weren't, you didn't think about it then, but when they started coaching, they really wasn't that much older than what we were. They just was right out of college. So, is only really a few years older than a lot of their players. So, didn't think about that at the time. You thought they were old men, I guess, but now. So yeah, we just was blessed with some good coaches and some good players. And it was to be able to see a lot of the guys you haven't seen. It was just good. It was really good.
Really fabulous. We had 108 golfers. The weather was absolutely beautiful. No rain, no wind. It happens every year. We have good weather for this golf tournament. We've never had a bad day, and everybody had a good time. And it just runs smooth. And we ended up donating $11,500 to 5 different families. Who would ever thought? 50 years ago we were that good. Now we're just old Ben. Right?
With great memories, right?
Well, great memories. Well, the food was good, and seeing everybody that was here, and guys that I haven't seen for a while, and everybody just having a good time, and it's awesome.
That's enjoyable to visit again and talk to them and see that, it's just been so long since I've been here that to recognize them, but to get together and visit, it's a lot of fun.
Believe in what you do, buy it, sell what you're doing, believe in it, don't try to, to sugarcoat things, be honest, have integrity, be upfront. I think because the minute that you don't, kids nowadays are pretty smart. They figure you out, and you lose them. They really do. And you just got to keep working at it. I mean, it's not going to come overnight. It's a journey, and you've got to along that journey. Everybody worries so much about the end result. The journey is what counts. So many things that happen on that journey, and then it just keeps, adding, snowballing, and then it becomes pretty good, It becomes what you want it to be. I made the comment, and I meant what I said, that the best decision in my career was coming here, that I've ever made was coming here first. Yeah.
How old were you when you came here?
21.
21. Wow.
We turned 22. Both John and I turned 22 in the fall. He turned 22 in August, and I turned 22 in September. So, yeah, and, it's so funny because neither one of us had ever seen an 8-man football. And here we are having to coach it, And that first game was really, really important. I think it showed the kids that, we were going to be, we weren't going to let anybody intimidate us, and we were going to be for real, and we were going to get better. That's another key, getting better week to week,
And here you are 51 years later.
Yeah.
Celebrating still.
Yeah, next year will be year 53, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It just came together so easy, and we just had a lot of fun doing it.
Anything else you want to add?
We thank Melanie Sandiford for coming down and taking pictures and doing this, because she's a real sweetheart. Did you get that on there?
I did. Thank you very much.
You bet.
Reporting from Farnham, Nebraska, I'm Melanie Standiford, Midwest Media by Melanie.